Welcome to the ninth episode of Story Structure Breakdown, where we're studying the movie adaptation of George Orwell's novel 1984. Now, if you missed the last episode, just click the link in the description box below. In the last episode, we talked about how 1984 is essentially a love story, and that by placing a love story within a greater context, a greater social context, that prevents the two lovers from being together, you can create increased dramatic tension. Well, in this week's episode, we're going to see how in this 1950s adaptation, they failed to do just that. But we're going to use that to our advantage and see exactly what we might be able to do to increase the drama. So let's just jump right into it.
Because love makes a world they can't control.
So here we have our two lovers pledging to each other to fight against the oppressive system that keeps them apart. This is a good start, but then the movie completely drops the ball, and I'll tell you exactly why.
It's more than 2 weeks since we have been able to meet, except for a few moments in a crowd or near a telescreen. There must be a message in the usual place tonight.
When writing fiction, teachers are always preaching about the fact that you've got to show the reader what is going on rather than just telling them. This is true to an extent. When you show people what the character is going through, you need to focus on the details that are going to make the story more powerful or meaningful. You don't want to portray every mundane detail of their life. But here, Winston Smith is telling us the important details of the love affair when it would be more powerful to show us.
Don't, criminal.
Hello, Selina. I didn't hear you coming.
You weren't meant to. We're trained as spies to follow people silently.
Why were you following me?
We're told to follow anyone who behaves suspiciously.
What was suspicious about my behavior?
It's suspicious coming here.
I was working in my room on an article for Newspeak. A page blew out the window. I saw it flutter down here, and I came to try to find it.
I saw you pick up something.
I dropped my cigarettes, that's all. It's dark now. I'll have to look on my way to work tomorrow. Are you coming, Selina? Are you coming, Selina?
Yes, I'm coming.
I want you to think about what you do to make this episode more dramatically powerful. Here's how I'd do it. Rather than have Winston tell us through his diary about the obstacles they face, I would show them, but I'd rearrange things to put them in a dramatic context. So think about this. The main character has told us about the obstacles and then tells us he's going to look for a note from his lover that evening. But then he's caught by his neighbor's daughter, who suspects him of being a spy. Now, if we rearrange this to show the two lovers having difficulty seeing each other 3 different times, this would use the power of repetition, which we talked about in a previous episode, to create greater drama. But on top of that, if we'd seen the creepy little girl lurking in the background each of those times, this would create greater drama because we know that the two lovers may be on the verge of getting caught. There are any number of ways you could increase the dramatic tension in the scene. Just tell us how you'd do it in the discussion box below. One of the reasons this movie is so boring is that the main character takes his own sweet time doing everything. There's no urgency to anything. Now, this scene would be much more dramatic if we knew that the police were hot on his trail and he should get out of there right now.
It is now 22:30 hours. Power must be conserved for our victory effort. All lights will be extinguished.
Good night, comrades. Tomorrow, your work for the party must be better than today. Remember, even in your sleep, Big Brother is watching you. Big Brother is watching you.
Big Brother is watching you. This suggests some other things I'd like to talk about. The fundamental conflict of this story is one of man against society. Big Brother is the face of society and represents oppression, fear, the encouragement of unnatural behaviors over natural ones. But Big Brother is just an idea. You need to portray physical evidence of this idea constantly, which is one of the reasons this movie is so boring. This story would be much more interesting if we saw the creepy little girl constantly watching the main character in the background, as well as random characters talking about how love is wrong and illegal. The reader needs to constantly be reminded that the two characters are doing what the two characters are doing is punishable by death, and that they're in constant danger. But this story only reminds you occasionally.
Julia, there is somewhere. That old shop. There's a room above it where no one lives, and there's no telescreen. I believe I could rent that room.
The old man in the shop would have to know. Anytime he wanted, he could report us.
I don't think he would. I've talked with him. He's only interested in his antiques, and renting the room would give him a little money so he wouldn't have to sell all his treasures. You saw him yourself.
Sooner or later, we'll have to trust someone.
I'm going to do it.
Somehow they must have found out.
We shouldn't have stayed so long.
It's no use, it's too late.
Okay, this movie is so boring I can't take it, so I'm going to save you some time and tell you that they think they've been caught, but it's really just a false alarm. Okay, that's all we have for this episode. Now, as always, if you have any suggestions on how I could make these videos better or more beneficial, please tell me in the discussion box below. And if you find these videos helpful, subscribe to the channel and share them with a friend. Until next time, this is Jim from eNovelAdvisor.com, your first step to writing a novel and the last word on marketing it.
Visit eNovelAdvisor.com to publish your own novel. You really can't go wrong. Learn to write a novel and market it. You will find out how easy it is. Turn your dream of writing into reality. eNovelAdvisor has everything you need.